Yesterday had a new look to the Home Run Derby, but it was still, as always, an exciting part of All-Star Week. Today's the All-Star Game. That and more on the Cubs baseball channel as we look forward to watching Shota Imanaga represent the Cubs and the National League in today's All-Star Game. That and more on the Cubs baseball channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get in that comment section. Let us know how you're feeling about this team as we get to watch one of our shining stars today in the Midsummer Classic. Here's your invitation to our show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cubs baseball channel. My name is Anthony Pasquale on Twitter at @Ant_Pasquale3. We always appreciate you guys joining us to talk some Cubs baseball. The Cubs baseball channel is now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So make sure to find us on those channels, those different accounts. Engage with us, interact with us there, and we're going to try to build up all of those different profiles just like we have here on YouTube. As always, we appreciate all of your interaction here on YouTube. Got a fun episode to discuss today, as yesterday was the Home Run Derby. Today's the All-Star break. So we're going to break down some of the different factors of All-Star weekend. And we'll start with the new Home Run Derby format. So it used to be, obviously, you get 10 outs. You get to hit until all 10 outs are up. You get the bonus gold ticket, last ball, which count for a little bit more. And then over the last few years, they've changed it. They've gone timed. They've gone bracket style. This year was kind of like a hybrid of all of that. The first round was timed. The second round was a bracket-style Final Four, which would result in a championship. And then that one was timed with a maximum of 27 pitches. And then you got 3 bonus outs and then an additional bonus out for hitting the ball over 425 feet. The one problem I have with the Home Run Derby these days is it takes so long. It started at about 7 Central, didn't end until about 10 Central. So you got to really sit down like you're getting ready to watch the Titanic just to get through the Home Run Derby. Baseball has kind of fixed the pace of play issue on the regular games in the regular season. Those are much shorter, much more action-filled. The Home Run Derby just seemed to drag on, and they're trying to get, commercials and sponsors everywhere. I understand it's a money grab, but at the same time, it's hard to sit through 3 hours worth of it. But some credit where credit is due. Teoscar Hernandez from the Los Angeles Dodgers crowned as the champion of this year's Home Run Derby. He hit 14 in the final round. The Royals shortstop Bobby Witt hit 13, and on his tying quest to keep the Home Run Derby alive, he hit it off the wall. It was very entertaining, a photo finish if you stayed up for it, but Teoscar Hernandez crowned the champion. And before we get into more about the Home Run Derby or the All-Star Game, I want to talk about Teoscar Hernandez. He was a free agent this past season, and he lasted pretty deep into free agency. And I was a little bit surprised that the Cubs didn't even consider kicking the tires with Teoscar Hernandez. Has a bit of a strikeout problem at the dish, but he's one of the league's best hitters and has been in terms of power for quite some time. On the Blue Jays and the Mariners, this is a guy that has been putting up a lot of numbers in his career. And if you look at it season by season, his last few seasons, 26 homers, 93 RBIs, 25 homers, 77 RBIs, 32 homers, 116 RBIs. He had 16 home runs during the COVID season of 2020, and that was obviously in just 60 games. So this guy, a legitimate power threat. It makes sense that he won the Home Run Derby, but the Dodgers went out this offseason, and they obviously signed Shohei Ohtani to a record $700 million deal and prorated it, so they were able to make more moves. They got the crown jewel pitching prospect on the market this past season and went out and signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto, which was a huge addition to their rotation. Obviously, he's injured right now, but it's worth mentioning that was a really big acquisition for them. And then they went out and traded for Tyler Glasnow, and obviously he's been sensational before his injury as well. Probably would have started the All-Star game had he been healthy coming into it. So you look at Glasnow, a guy that the Cubs were rumored to be interested in trading for. They missed out on him. They missed out on Ohtani, and then the Dodgers still had enough money and willingness to spend to get Teoscar Hernandez. don't you think the Cubs, who have been lacking a power bat in their lineup, could use a guy hitting 261 with 19 home runs and 62 RBI at the break? He's got an OPS of 802, not only for this season, but that's also his career mark. He's a great hitter. He's an all-star, and I wish the Cubs would have gone after him. Obviously, he's an outfielder, but he's also a designated hitter, and I think we would all agree that whether you put him in the outfield or at designated hitter, that bat plays in this lineup. And I get the Cubs have Happ, Suzuki, Bellinger, Tauchman, Pete Crow-Armstrong to work in the outfield. So maybe it would have been a just DH move, which was hard to justify with the prowess of Christopher Morel on the roster. But the fact of the matter is Hernandez was out there, and I think the Cubs missed the mark on signing him. But these were the other contestants in the home run derby: Pete Alonso, Jose Ramirez, Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr., who went to the finals, Alec Boehm from the Phillies, Marcell Ozuna, and Adolis Garcia. Going into it, my three picks to click were Pete Alonso, who has obviously had a lot of success in the home run derby before. Big dud from him. Gunnar Henderson, who leads the league in home runs of these players that signed up for the home run derby. A nice left-handed swing. He's on the Baltimore Orioles. I thought he would do well. He didn't make the Final Four. And then I thought Adolis Garcia, playing at his home ballpark for the Texas Rangers, would put on a show. And the Final Four ended up being the four guys that I didn't think would have been that good. Jose Ramirez, obviously, Alec Boehm, Bobby Witt Jr., and Teoscar Hernandez. But it made me think, obviously these guys can hit bombs, but where are some of the league's best power hitters? Like, obviously back in the day, you had Sosa going toe-to-toe with guys, and Ken Griffey Jr. won a home run derby. Now it's just like that second tier of power guys. It seems like all the big stars go once, and then, if they win it, great. If they don't, great. But how awesome would it have been to have a home run derby with Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Kyle Schwarber, another guy who hits bombs. And I wonder if we can go back to it. The other thing I've always thought would be cool is if you had a home run derby of like recently retired guys. Like you get Big Papi and A-Rod out there hitting bombs. That would be so fun to watch. Pujols, Cabrera, get some of those guys that just retired and have them go at it. I'm sure even Griffey could hit some out these days still, and that would be really cool. And then it made me think, is there anybody on the Cubs that can hit home runs like this? And Patrick Wisdom was the first guy that popped to my mind because he's always been a guy that in batting practice hits him a long way. And I know the Cubs have had some guys in the past, but what about Christopher Morel? He could have been an interesting candidate. Obviously, you need to be an all-star. I think that's a new rule that you have to be an all-star, which led to some controversy. Like, was that the only reason Pete Alonso was the Mets representative instead of Lindor because of the Derby? But all of that aside, Christopher Morel is a guy who hits absolute tanks, not only in BP, but you saw it on display against St. Louis over the weekend. He hits bombs in games. He has 18 at the break, so he would have slotted above some of the other guys that ended up hitting in the home run derby, and he would have been a great watch. He's always instant entertainment. Obviously, didn't make the all-star team, but keep an eye on Christopher Morel as a guy that could be a home run derby candidate in the future. But also want to ask all of you guys, what's your favorite home run derby memory? Obviously, Cubs fans know Ryan Sandberg, Sammy Sosa, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber are all past Cubs that have hit in the home run derby. Honestly, Kyle Schwarber probably should have won it, but there's a little bit of a clock disparity, and the hometown kid in Washington ended up getting a few extra pitches and won that. But let us know in the comments section your favorite Cubs home run derby memory. Obviously, it rained like crazy last night in Chicago, and it's kind of another reminder why it's so hard to have the All-Star weekend at Wrigley. Obviously, it's not the biggest stadium and parking is a concern, but the last time they had it, it was washed out due to rain, and Chicago's been getting hammered with rain. So as much as I would love a home run derby and an All-Star game at Wrigley Field, it's truly one of my dreams to go to that. It might be a little while before we get it just because weather is sometimes an issue. And then, like I said, the stadium isn't the biggest. The parking's a little bit of a mess, but man, how cool would it be to see some of the biggest stars in Wrigley, Ohtani and all the Judge, all these guys hitting homers. And I think that would be a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think about having the All-Star game at Wrigley and the home run derby at Wrigley in the future. And if you think it could or would ever work. Now we got to talk about our guy, Shota Imanaga. He was all smiles at the All-Star festivities yesterday. I saw him chatting it up with his friend Shohei Ohtani. That was really cool to see him interact with some of the other Japanese players, and then saw him meet Bryce Harper, which was really cool to see. A guy that I think a lot of people wish was a Chicago Cub. Unfortunately, he is not, but he got to meet Shota Imanaga, which was really cool to see. A guy that obviously has turned heads and been one of the Cubs' real I guess you would say, bright spots or entertainers this season. He's 8-2 on the year with a 2.97 ERA. He earned his trip to the All-Star game, and he will be pitching today for the National League after Paul Skeens, who's having a phenomenal season for Pittsburgh. Only the 6th rookie ever to start. He's only made 11 starts in his big league career, but he, without a doubt, has earned the right to pitch in the All-Star game and to get the start. Honestly, I think it'd be awesome. I know they got to work everybody in, but how cool would it be if for the All-Star game you picked Skeens or whoever you thought was the best starter and just let him go like 6 shutout against the best hitters in the AL? Like, that would be awesome to watch. Obviously, with injury concerns and the ability to get other pitchers in, it'll never happen, but I think that would be really cool to see. But it's Skeens getting the start tonight for the National League, 6-0 on the year with a 1.90 ERA against former Brewer, current Oriole, who the Cubs just beat, Corbin Burns, 9-4 on the season with a 2.43 ERA. You guys watching the All-Star game? Only one Cub in it. But I always have fun watching this this weekend in this All-Star game. So let me know your thoughts on the Midsummer Classic. But guys, that'll do it for the Cubs Baseball channel. Thank you guys so much for always watching, liking, subscribing, listening, following on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, etc. We appreciate it all, and we will talk to you guys soon. Going to get in some fun trade discussions and those sorts of things this week in the All-Star break, and then the Cubs play the Diamondbacks heading out of the break starting on Friday. Talk to you guys soon.